Good morning. So today's math lesson is Module 12, Lesson 3. It begins on page 357. And today we're going to be talking about adding or subtracting tens. So we started out just adding tens, then we went yesterday to subtracting tens, and now we're going to be doing both. So our I can statement is I can add and subtract multiples of 10. And so hundreds frame or 120 frame, which is what you have at home, is an incredibly useful tool. So down the side, you can see that we're counting by multiples of 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, and you should be able to do that without looking, but this tool is a great tool to use. So today, in our first problem for our Spark Your Learning, they are talking about a squirrel and some acorns. So let me read the problem to you. It's page 357. A squirrel has 50 acorns. So I'm going to put a little mark right here next to the 50. She gathers 30 more acorns. Then she buries 60 acorns. How many acorns does the squirrel have now? So I want you to think about different tools that you could use. You could use your tens rods to act this out for sure. That would be a great strategy. You could draw a quick pick on your marker board. Whatever strategy you would like to use. I am going to use this hundreds frame today. But I want you to think about, remember, we've now read the question one time. Let's read it a second time and really break it down and think about what's happening. A squirrel has 50 acorns. So picture that squirrel with a pile of 50 acorns. She gathers 30 more acorns. So if I look at my 10 frame and I go 10, 20, 30, and I land on 20, would that make sense? If she started with 50 acorns and she gathered 30 more, would she have 20? No, that doesn't make sense because that's a smaller number. So she needs to be getting more acorns. So again, let's go back to the 50 that she started with and let's add on, and I'm hopping if you watch. Let's add on 10, 20, 30. So that would give her 80. So the squirrel started out with 50 acorns. Then she has 80 acorns. And this is a 3-step problem. So now let's read the next clue. Then she buries 60 acorns. So we're starting at this 80 that she collected for the winter, and we're going to show that she buries or gets rid of 60 of her acorns. So it would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So that would mean that she has 20 left in front of her. So the 20 that she has left in front of her plus the 60 that she buried should give me 80. And 20 plus 60 does equal 80. So that answer completely makes sense. Let's move on. For once, our Spark Your Learning, we all have the same answer. All right, on the next page, build understanding. How can you use a 100 chart to solve these problems? So let's start out with A. One class collects empty cans. On Monday, they collect 30 cans. So let's mark Monday, they collect 30 cans. On Tuesday, they collect 40 cans. How many cans does the class collect? So we know that that's an adding problem. They collected 30 and then they collect 40 more. So we're going to start at 30 and watch how I hop. I'm going to go 10, and I don't say 10 until I leave the 30. So I'm going to start at the 30 and I'm going to say 10, 20, 30, 40. So I'm saying that 30 cans on Monday plus 40 more cans gives me 70 cans. So parents and kids, when you're skip counting, the biggest key is not to start counting until you leave the number that you're starting on. So I started at 30. I'm not going to say 10 until I leave that space. So 10, 20, 30, 40. It'll be 70 cans. Let's look at B. Another class wants to collect 50 bottles. The class has 20 bottles already. So let me move this down a smidge so that you can see the whole hundreds grid. Another class wants to collect 50. So I'm going to circle their goal. They want to collect 50. They already have 20. So here's my 20. So I'm going to see how much it's going to take me, how much it will take them to get from 20 down to 50. So I'm going to use the same strategy. I'm going to go 10, 20, 30. It would take them 30. So what does the class need to do? They need, so you'd be writing a sentence. They need, and I'm not going to write the whole thing, but you can. They need 30 more 30 more bottles. 30 more bottles. 30 more bottles. And you will write the whole sentence. Okay? Because 20 plus 30 is equal to 50. Moving on to page 359 for Step It Out. Use the hundreds chart to solve these problems. I can move up or down rows to add and subtract tens. All right, so let's try a few of these. I'm going to use some different colors this time. So for A, we're going to start with 90 and we're going to subtract 30. So I start at 90. And if I'm subtracting, I'm moving to smaller numbers. So remember what I said, I'm not going to start counting until I leave that 90. So I'm going to go 10, 20, 30. Okay, so 90 minus 30 is 60. And if I change my color for my next problem, this time, this one's a little bit tricky. Something plus 20 equals 30. So if I'm at 20, how much more do I need to hop if I want to end, I want to be equal to 30? Well, I know that 20 plus 10, just one hop, right, is 30. So if I put the add-ins in a different order, if I know that 20 plus 10 equals 30, I also know that 10 plus 20 equals 30. All right, something is the same as 40 plus 40. So let's figure out what 40 plus 40 is. So here's my green mark, 40, and I'm going to hop down 40 more. Ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, and I landed on 80. And do you know what I noticed? 4 plus 4 is 8. So 40 plus 40 is 80. Because 4 tens plus 4 tens would be 8 tens, which is 80. All right, this one's a little bit tricky. 30 is the same as 80 minus something. So we're going to start at 80. Let's use orange. We're going to start at 80 again. We already used the 80, but we're going to use it again. We're going to start at 80, and I want to see 80 minus how many will get me to 30. So if I start at 80, how many hops does it take me to get to 30? And remember, I'm not just counting by ones, I'm counting by tens because I'm going up and down the number grid instead of across the number grid. If I go across, I'm counting by ones. If I go up and down, I'm counting by tens. So I'm starting at 80 and I want to go up here to the 30. So let's see how many hops, and I'm actually going to draw my hops in this time. So 80, I'm going to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So it took me 50. 5 hops, 5 tens, which is 50. Now let's see if that makes sense. 80 is the same as 8 tens. 50 is the same as 5 tens. So is 8 minus 5 3? Yes, it is. So we know we are correct. And let's move on to the bottom of the page. Check understanding. Solve, write an equation to show the problem. There are 20 fish in a tank. So I'm going to find my 20. There are 20 fish in a tank. 50 more fish are put in the tank. So we're getting 50 more fish. How many fish are in the tank now? So let's think about it. There are 20 fish in the tank. Are we adding or are we taking away 50 fish? We're definitely adding them. We couldn't take away them because we don't even have 50 to start with. So 20 plus 50, and then let's figure out what that is. Starting at 20, we're going to hop. Ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Landing on 70. And let's check our thinking. Let's check and see if that makes sense. 2 plus 5 is 7. So 2 tens plus 5 tens is 7 tens. And so it absolutely would be correct. It would be 70 fish. Let's look at the next one. If we start at 50, what do we need to add in order to get to 80? So start at 50, and we're going to go 10, 20, 30. So 50 plus 30 equals 80. Over here, if I start at 90, something is equal to 90 minus 20. So let's figure out what that is. What is 90 minus 20? We're starting at 90. We're getting smaller, so that means we're going up the number grid. So we're going 10, 20. So 70 is the same as 90 minus 20. And we are going to stop there today because the next page is on your own and I know you can do it. Use your number grid, draw your quick picks, whatever you need to do to help you make it make sense. Thank you.